So we are here to answer your questions on the product management service user interface use after its go live last Friday on 31st of May. I am Katerina from PMS Change Management team, and I'm here with Marcos and Veronica, the PMS product owners, who will respond live to your questions. So I will share my screen now. So just a disclaimer, this meeting will be recorded. We will publish the recording on EMA YouTube channel and on the event webpage on EMA website. To answer your questions today, we will use the interaction tool Slido. And here in this slide, you can see the QR code through which you can join the Slido session we have created there. And otherwise, you can just go to slido.com and enter this code PMSQA1. Of course, you will be, Slido is open, so you will be able to see the questions that everyone asks there. And so you can either send your own question or check the questions that were already answered, already asked there, and vote the one that you would like to be answered, as we will respond to questions in order of upvotes. So the one with most votes will get answers before. So now let's go to the Slido. And I see you're really active, so we have already some questions. So it's time to start. First, what is the impact of not having the data or missing around 80 fields in PMS Product UI? What are the impacted systems if this data is not up to date?
I can reply to this one. So we know that these fields are missing. So as you know, we are taking the data from two different sources, which are SciAmed, the internal EMA database, and XCVMPD, where we have centrally authorized products and non-centrally authorized products. And the data model of those systems are smaller than the one that we have in PMS. So from the beginning, we already knew that there were missing fields. The data model from PMS is really big. So there is no issue. We know that this is happening. And for example, we don't have storage conditions, or we don't have information about the materials of the packages, etc. This data will have to be enriched at some point. We are, for the moment, now opening the enrichment for manufacturers for national products because we want to support ESMP, and this is something that they need. And in the future, 2025 onwards, we will be opening the enrichment for other fields. So for these storage conditions or materials to support other projects, etc. So there is no impact on any system for the moment because these systems are not using this information. But in the future, we will request this data. But for the moment, no impact, and this is something that it has been like this from the beginning. So no problem with that.
Thank you, Marcos. Next question, will we be able to create separate packed medicinal product entries in the PMS UI, even though there is only one XCVMPD product entry covering all pack sizes?
So the answer is no for the moment. The only way to submit data to PMS is through XCVMPD. And as you know, pack sizes should be created in XCVMPD. We have seen that there has been a lot of questions regarding the pack sizes and the packages, how to create them, how they are then migrated to PMS. And we are planning to host a short webinar to focus on this aspect, on the pack sizes and how to submit the packages, etc. through XCMPD to PMS. We don't have a date yet. We need to discuss internally, but we want to give this information because we have seen a lot of questions regarding this. So the answer to this question is, for the moment, only through XCMPD. Also because Article 57 legislation says that pack sizes or the authorized medicinal products should be submitted through XCMPD. So that's the only way for the moment that we have to be able to get the information on PMS. So yeah, that's the short answer. And then the long answer is that we want to host a webinar to explain on this information more in detail.
Okay, thank you. Next, met the array codes for a new product, Fabhalta 200 milligram capsule, hard, so with this PMS ID, is missing in PMS PY.
Yes. I will steal your screen 1 second, Katerina. I want to share.
Yeah.
So this is a good question, and as you know, in chapter 7 of the UID, where we have the initial migration rules, we have a table where we state where the data is coming from. So we have fields that are coming from SciAmed, there are fields that are coming from XCMPD, and specifically the indications are coming from XCMPD. So I'm sharing now my screen to show this specific product. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yes.
So something important, when you open the product, you have here a field called EV code. In this section, you would have the list of EV codes that are linked to this product in case this product has been matched and merged between SciAmed and XCMPD. This is all explained in chapter 7 as well. If this field is empty or this field has, as in this case, null, that means that for this product, we have not been able to do the match and merge. This is a known issue, and for some centrally authorized products, we know that the match and merge was not possible. We are working to solve this issue for those products, and hopefully during this month, we will be able to solve the issue. Therefore, if in this section you see it's empty or you see null, that means that we only have data from SciAmed. And therefore, as the therapeutic indications are coming from XCMPD, this section will be empty. As soon as we are able to do the match and merge, this data, and not only this data, but for example, also the pharmaceutical product, which is coming from XCMPD, will also be populated. So that's a way to, if you are missing this information like pharmaceutical product data, therapeutic indications, or other fields coming from XCMPD, check in the marketing authorization information, in the medicinal product information, if you have any EV code. If it's null or empty, then you know the reason. The match and merge with XCMPD was not possible, and that's why you have this information missing from XCMPD. And again, that's a known issue, and we are working on that to be able to solve the problem during this month. And I hope this is clear. And back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Okay, let's go to the next question. Authorization status. Could you please clarify which system is the source of this piece of information?
Yes. So again, this is in this table that we have at the end of chapter 7, and the authorization status is coming from XCMPD. It's coming from XCMPD again, as far as we are able to do the match and merge between SciAmed and XCMPD. If the product has not undergone the match and merge, then the source is SciAmed, and as soon as we do the match and merge, the data will be overwritten with the one coming from XCMPD.
Okay, thank you. Next, for the data enrichment of PMS, what is the deadline for the MAHs to update the information of their MAs through the XCMPD messaging?
So 1st of February 2025. We are also working on the update of chapter 3.2 of XCMPD. with this information, but we have already, in other webinars, we have already provided this information. For the moment, the enrichment that we are looking for is those pack sizes for the medicinal products that are under the union list of critical medicines. So there is a list, you need to check which are the products that are impacted, and then you need to send through XCVMPD the authorized pack sizes for those products. And this is for the moment the only, let's say, enrichment that we are looking for. Then at the end of the year, we will open product UI and the API to submit manufacturers, etc. But that deadline is end of 2025. So for the moment, pack sizes, it's 1st of February. And yeah, it's only for those products that are under the union list of critical medicines.
Thank you. Marketing status and marketing status dates. Which system are these information coming from?
That's also a good question. So for the moment, this information in PMS is empty. For centrally authorized products, you need to use IRIS, and for national products, this is managed by ESMP, I think, and you will need to submit information through some templates that they have. If you need more information, you can ask the ESMP team, or we can also ask them. But for the moment, this information is not synchronized with PMS. So we are not taking this data from IRIS or from any other source, and therefore it will be empty for a while. There are internal discussions if this information should be managed in PMS directly or not. But for the moment, the marketing status was already managed in IRIS, this is the way to go. And therefore, you need to submit this data through IRIS or the Excel templates. We don't have it in PMS.
Thank you. Authorization status follow-up question. In XCVMPD, different pack sizes for the same product can have a different status. Valid for new pack sizes, valid transfer for pack sizes registered originally. How this is managed in PMS?
Yes. So this is written in chapter 2 as well. And let me, I will still, again, the, sorry. I'm just looking for it.
Maybe, Marcus, I can take over. So, for your information, colleagues, we are reviewing chapter 2, and the authorization status set of data fields is actually one of the changes that we are introducing. So, for your information, we are providing more clarification on the level of RMS terms to be used and reported in which situation. So, in overall, we are updating the business rules. And we are also giving more guidances because you can have indeed, as stated in this question, different authorization status at package level. So you can have an authorization status valid, for instance, a medicinal product level, and at the packaged medicinal product level, you might have withdrawn one of the packages. So in this case, we are updating also the business rules to follow for you to clearly submit the information as correct as possible.
Yes, and also just to add, so here you can see the chapter 2 where Veronica was saying, we can see that if we have different values for different packages, and that can happen, we can have a valid, another one can be withdrawn, another one could be, I don't know, invalid due to the sunset clause, etc. At product level, we will follow this business rule. So depending on the value at package level, if one of the packages have a valid status, then the product will be valid. If we don't have valid, but one of the packages is valid transfer, then the product will be valid transfer, etc. So we have done this kind of priority list, and this is the business rule that we are using. So you can refer to chapter 2 to this section to understand which is the strategy that we are following for the authorization status at product level. But again, as Veronica said, we are also improving this section of the UAT. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Data sync frequency. Can we monitor PMS PY in real time or with 4 hours gap with XCVMPD submissions?
That's
Yeah.
also a good question. Oh, yeah, go Veronica.
No, as far as I know, the registered users can have a data sync frequency almost in real time between XVMPD, PMS, and PY. Just please bear in mind that to see the data in PY, there is a further step, which is propagating the data from PMS API to Iris, Dataverse, and then to PY. So it's almost real time. The only difference is for public records, so unregistered users. There might be a gap, meaning that the data get refreshed from on the working times every day, so from 9 to 6. If you access a public record, so unregistered users, at 10 p.m., you might get the data as latest update at 6 p.m. the same day. So you need to wait the day after to get updated.
Thank you.
Marcos, maybe you wanted to add.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
I
yes.
think that's correct.
Okay. Marketing status and marketing status dates follow-up question. My organization products have a marketing status fields filled in. Could you please clarify?
That's a good question. Maybe what you can do is, can you open a ticket and provide us with some examples so we can check? Because as far as we know, that shouldn't be the case. So please open a ticket, send us some PMS IDs if you can, so we can check this information and we can come back to you. And if we need to update anything, we can do it in the next session that we have next week. But in principle, this field should be empty.
Okay, thanks.
And I hope it's marketing status and not authorization status. But if it's authorization status, then this data is coming from XMPD. But marketing status, as far as we are aware, that shouldn't. I mean, it's not synchronized with any system, so we would need to check.
Okay, thanks. Spore homepage. Will PMS page be updated?
So as I have replied in the question, for the moment that the PMS portal is not going to be hosted in the general Spore homepage portal, as you might be aware by accessing RMS or OMS. For that, we have created the PLM portal just because of the interconnections that we have with the other projects like EAF and EPI. So for the moment, no, it won't be updated. But if you had the chance to access the Spore portal, you might see that there is a link to the PLM portal. You might see that there is a link to the Spore homepage just to facilitate users when they need to check RMS and OMS data. We will let you know if in case we change. We have a new link, but for the moment, no.
Okay, thank you. Will QPPV not be involved in PMS activities similar to hydrovigilance? For example, XCVMPD access and additional information questions from EMA are under the purview of QPPV.
So I think this is still under discussion. As you said, hydrovigilance, the communications that we send through hydrovigilance are sent to the QPPV. That's also because hydrovigilance is a pharmacovigilance platform and PMS is not, it's something bigger. But we need to discuss, and also for the moment, whatever you see in PMS, it's coming from XCVMPD mainly. For CAPS, we also have Cyamed, but we need to discuss in the future how and who will be contacted in case there are changes needed in PMS or there are questions of products in PMS. It could be the QPPV or someone else. This is still under discussion. So for the moment, we don't know. Contacts to the QPPV for XMPD will still be there. So that's the news that we have. We don't have anything new for the moment.
Thank you. Okay. Marketing start date and end date is available in IRIS. Will this information be cascaded by EMA to PMS, and will ESMP consider IRIS data for shortage of medicines?
So again, we know that this data it's in IRIS for CAPS, and I think somehow will also be there for NAPS. And ESMP is considering the data that is in IRIS, which is also so for the products that ESMP will be using are the ones in IRIS, which are coming from PMS. So at the end, ESMP is taking the products from PMS. The marketing status that they are taking will come also from IRIS. And as I said, the discussion now is, should we also take the marketing status information from IRIS? Should it be managed in IRIS? In the future, will it change and it will be managed in PMS? These are discussions that are happening internally. And for the moment, we don't have an answer. We will inform you if there is any change, but for the moment, again, marketing status is managed in IRIS, and the S&P will consume this information from there.
Thank you. Will the PV fees be calculated based on XCV-MPD or data from PMS?
So I hope that at some point they will be calculated from PMS, but for the moment, the process will still be the same. Fees, the pharmacovigilance fees are calculated from XCV-MPD, and until further notice, they will still be calculated based on XCV-MPD. Now, there is this epic that we have for the XCV-MPD decommissioning that will happen in the future because we want to get rid of XCV-MPD because it's an old technology, and that's why we are also migrating everything to PMS. So the idea is that at some point, PMS could be the source for the calculation of the pharmacovigilance fees. But until we don't say anything different, the fees will still be calculated from the data that we have in XCV-MPD.
And if I may add one more point to what Marco stated, there is new pharmacovigilance regulation for the calculation of the fees. We can anticipate to you that we had already discussions internally to explore the possibility, and this is the direction and the vision of the agency, to align to the IDMP model. So it means that for the moment, the pharmacovigilance fees are calculated based on XCV-MPD data. And by the time we will be able to migrate to PMS, they are already considering the new set of rules to create, the PMS entity and all the fields that are currently impacting the creation of the fees at pharmacovigilance level. So the agency is moving in that direction too.
Thank you, Veronica. Can I access PMS Read UI with the same user and password as for RMS and SMS?
I'm afraid no. You can access only by requesting the dedicated PMS POI role, either regular user or qualified user, either from industry or NCAs, but the RMS and SMS roles, like the super users, those are not linked in relationship to the PMS. So you need to request a different one. And if you need to have more information, I would encourage you to go to the PLM page, to click on the PMS guidance, and to see the point 1 called guidance document. There is a straight link to onboarding of users of SPOR roles, and you can see all the information reported there, plus chapter 1 for the registration process.
But sorry, Veronica, so you need a different role, but I think the user and the password is the same, right? Because it's linked to the user.
Well, if in IAM you create, you can create the same password because you can update in IAM the password and create just one password for all the roles, but you need a different role. So it depends what kind of password you have.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, the user, you need to request a different user, that's for sure. So
totally.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next. Pack size description in PMS will match pack size description from XCV-MPD. For CAPs in PMS, the field have more information than the ones included in XCV-MPD. Maybe from SciMed,
Yeah, so this is our mistake, let's say, because we need to update the famous table from chapter 7 because it says that the package description is coming from XCBMPD. But for CAPS, the package description is coming from SciAmed. This is because for most of the products in XCBMPD for CAPS, we saw that the package description was empty, and therefore we would be missing valuable information that is used by other systems. So we decided to take the package description from SciAmed for centrally authorized products. For non-caps, we will take whatever we have in XCBMPD, but for caps, it's a concatenation of fields from SciAmed. So we have, I think it's the pack size, material, and, the container. And this is the information that is shown in the product UI. So we need to update chapter 7 for this field.
Thank you. We have found that pharmacovigilance-related information only states the MFL code. Why QPPV contact information is blank?
Yeah, so this is also a known issue, and as such, we have included this in the known issues that you can find in the notes of the PLM portal. We have the information in PMS. The problem is that Iris is not yet synchronizing this information. We are planning to ask them to do it during this month or beginning of next quarter. So you will be able to see this information. But for the moment, it's blank because Iris is not showing, let's say, this information in the product UI. You will be able to look at it hopefully mid of next quarter.
Okay, thank you. So this was the last question.
Okay, I just want to make a comment, and I'm glad that we don't have that many questions. It's maybe mean that we are doing a good job in the product UI. Just a comment because we have seen a couple of tickets like, oh, I cannot find my product, or my product is missing. Just a reminder that in the left navigation panel, the authorization status, we have a default filter for the valid values. So in case you are not able to find a product, you need to remove all the filters. So because maybe your product is withdrawn or something like this, and that is why you are not able to find those products. So it's just a reminder that in the authorization status, we have the filter by default. So in case you want to, you are missing some product, it might be the reason. And that would be all from my side.
Thank you. Just to let you know before closing that I've opened a quick survey on Slido, as we usually do after our webinars, to have just your feedback on this session. We hope it was useful to clarify any doubts you may have on the PMS PY use. And let me see if we have 1 minute. No, we don't have any more questions. So on that, I wish you all a good afternoon. And thank you, Marcos, Veronica.